Hi, everyone. Welcome to Can't Shelve This, the podcast where we hammer home the importance of school libraries. I'm Leah Gregory, and I'm joined by my co-host, Janette Durecki.
Hi, everyone.
And our producer, Ola Gronsky.
Hi, everyone.
How is everyone today? Everyone is super busy. I don't even have to ask.
We're just right in the middle of the busiest time for us. We've got a lot of conferences and things going on right now, but it is really great to see everybody. I do love that part of conference season.
It is really fun to see everyone, even though I feel like it's just so busy. You're just like, hi, hi, hi. You see everybody all at once and you're running through the halls and
it's nonstop.
It is nonstop.
And just to clarify, this is actual busy, not like the fake busy when people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. We just had the ISLE conference, and then we're gearing up for the Illinois Library Association conference, as well as this year AASL is very close. So we're planning to attend.
Yes. And don't forget the very first ever Libraries Count conference.
Yeah, Libraries Count. This was our first ever data conference that I helped to coordinate. So excited to bring together so many amazing people to talk about how important data is for libraries.
And of course, that's just fitting in all the rest of our job too. So there's a lot going on. Like Janette and I just presented at a Institute Day down here where I live. So the most important part of this month, though, is that it's going to be Halloween.
Spooky season.
Yeah, spooky season.
This is the season where I thrive.
Do you feel like you come alive?
I do. And it might be because I'm an October baby, but also just, I love spooky all year round. But now it's socially acceptable.
Yes. And I do love all the things that go with spooky season, like, picking apples and drinking cozy warm drinks. I'm not a pumpkin spice person, but I do like cozy warm drinks. So.
I feel like cozy spooky season is the most conducive to reading time, right?
Yeah.
You have your warm beverage, you have your blanket, your sweater, you're just cozy, you're ready to read.
Yeah, you snuggle up and you just grab a book. I love that.
I love to read all year round because I am the type that will crank my air conditioner and still get a blanket.
Yes.
I am guilty of that as well. And then I get yelled at because they're like, why do you want to keep the AC so cold if you're wearing a blanket?
Because I want a blanket. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be hot. I want to be cold and then made warm by a blanket. That's that whole thing.
Exactly. Right? When my kids were little, Halloween was a huge thing in our house. And we always had to watch the same Halloween shows over and over again. We would tee them up in our DVR. And we were talking yesterday a little bit about this. What did your family love to watch for Halloween when it was Halloween time? And we spoke briefly about Halloween Town 1, 2, and 3 because there are 3 of them.
It's the best.
It is the best.
Sorry, Hocus Pocus people like Halloween. I'm a Halloween Town person.
I'm a Halloween Town person.
I feel like that's a good litmus test. Are you a Hocus Pocus girl or are you a Halloween Town girl? And I was definitely a Halloween Town girl.
I have actually never seen Hocus Pocus.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
Okay, that I will say you do need to watch at some point.
I probably should watch it.
Because it is just Halloween canon at this point, right?
And Sarah Jessica Parker, I mean.
They're all so amazing in that movie, really, truly.
I need to get on that. I also have not seen Twitches, which is what you guys mentioned yesterday.
Yes, I guess I'm option C for Halloween Town, Hocus Pocus, and then Twitches, featuring, of course, the infamous Tia and Tamara Mowry.
Yeah, I love Tia and Tamara Mowry. So.
Also preface this by saying Ola watched Twitches as a kid, right?
I was the target demographic.
Right. I watched Twitches a million times because my kids are the same age as Ola. I was the parent and it is a great show. I loved it.
So here's an undersung favorite in our house. Nobody ever knows this when I mention it. And sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, it might have just been a fever dream, but my kids remember it. It was a little very strange half-hour show called Scary Godmother. Did you guys ever see Scary Godmother?
I have never heard of that, Leah.
Okay, so we found it accidentally. I don't know how we found it. But then it became a favorite and we had to and it was hard to find. It wasn't always mainstream. And it was this weird CGI animation about a witch, and she's the scary godmother. And she had friends, a skeleton guy and a Frankenstein guy. But the thing that I remember the most is that there were some human kids in the show, and this is animated. So,
so live action.
They were dressed
almost.
up. Yes. And one of them was, I remember this. He was dressed up as like a car door for Halloween. And he was just walking around saying, your door is ajar. Your door is ajar.
Okay, that's hilarious.
This is definitely fever dream material.
Right. It sounds like a movie you would have seen them do on MST3K. Like, did you ever watch Mystery Science Theater?
Yes. It was really
that
fun.
Creepy Cartoon Network show with the dog and the old lady? Do you know what I'm talking? It was like so scary and creepy as a child.
I don't think
I watched that.
It's like old people in a rocking chair and this creepy little dog. I'm literally going to Google creepy Cartoon Network show with dog. Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Oh,
that might have been it, yes.
Dog I did watch, but
Was
I
that
don't remember it
creepy?
being creepy.
I found
Maybe because I
it
was
to
an
be
adult.
creepy.
Yes, we could have missed the creepiness factor because we weren't watching it as kids.
Because we watched Inky and the Brain, and you want to be creeped out by something, be creeped out by that.
So we're going to pivot from kids shows to actual horror shows. And I have to preface this by saying I am not a huge horror fan. And then I say that, and then I find myself watching all kinds of horror. So I have probably not seen a lot of like the classic horror shows.
Like Carrie.
I actually have seen that because this is the funny thing. The older horror shows I have seen because my parents did not like stop me from watching anything that came out. So I've seen
Same.
I've seen everything.
It probably explains a lot about why we are the way we are.
Yes. So now I don't want like gross like slasher films. I like scary that's like The Conjuring. I thought that was a very good scary movie because it was psychologically thrilling, I guess.
So you want a Liam Neeson movie is what you want. You want like a scary mystery, like suspense kind of scary.
Yes. But we mentioned Rosemary's Baby yesterday, and that's one of my favorite movies. And it's very scary, but it's not like bloody. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. It falls into that same genre you're talking about, though. Like, I was telling Leah the story about how I took a film music class in college, and one of our assignments was to analyze the music in Rosemary's Baby. So let me just tell you, like, watching Rosemary's Baby like 10 times in a row is pretty traumatizing, so I don't recommend that. But I mean, I can see it's very enthralling, like, or captivating, I guess is a better word for it. Like, you're so invested and it's just creepy and eerie.
Let me tell you a story about Rosemary's Baby. When I was like, I think maybe 13, maybe 12, one of those ages, my aunt and uncle had a baby. And so my grandparents were going over to visit the baby and stay with them and help them. So this was my cousin being born. And they're like, do you want to come? And I'm like, yeah. And so they lived several hours away. They're like, go get a book for the trip. Okay. So I ran into their bookshelf and I just grabbed a book off the shelf.
Was it Rosemary's Baby?
It was Rosemary's Baby.
Oh my goodness.
On your way to meet a baby.
I read Rosemary's Baby on my way to meet a baby, and I did not sleep that night. It was terrifying.
You said it's one of your favorites. And I'm like,
it's one of my favorites. I've read it.
Did resonate with you.
Over and over and over. I do love it. But it's not the scariest movie I've ever seen. So that's why I wanted to ask you, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
I think the scariest movie I've ever seen, in part, depends on the phase of my life I was in, right? So, like, the scariest I ever remember being watching a movie was watching Jaws as a kid. Like,
that was terrifying.
Legs tucked up on the couch, like, because we had HBO, which was not something that a lot of people had in their homes at that time. And like my parents, to the point you made earlier about like me watching things that were definitely not age appropriate, like I thought it was real. Like to this day, I am terrified of sharks still. So
do you swim in the ocean?
I mean, I have, yeah.
I don't swim in the ocean because of Jaws. But here, that's even worse. My parents like put me in the car and took me to see Jaws when I was 5 years old.
Oh my God.
My.
Because I don't know, they couldn't find a babysitter or something, and I've just never recovered.
I think it's just what you
that.
did. It's why my first time ever seeing Star Wars was at a drive-in theater as a very young child. And I was like clearly not afraid of all the shooting and the, aliens.
What about you, Ola?
I didn't watch a lot of horror growing up. I don't know why. I like reading horror a lot, but when I think of like, so I'll see horror movies now. Like I'll go into the theaters, but I get really freaked out about like horror and things that are believable. It's like the whole thing, like if I think about the vastness of the universe or like aliens for too long, I get really freaked out. I just spiral and I'm like, this is too much for my brain to handle.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't think about it for too long. But when I think of like horror movies, it's like, is 28 Days Later the one about like pandemic, like things break out? Yeah, like things like that where I'm like, it is kind of believable. And that
isn't it Contagion? Is that the
Contagion? Maybe that's what I'm thinking
is it
of.
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah, because like 28 Days Later, I think is more zombies. But the idea of an outbreak happening like that, because I'm like, wait, this could happen.
Yeah. So like then the other thing too that scares me is like I just get creeped out by certain characters like Michael Myers. Sorry, that is the creepiest character ever, and I think it's because he doesn't talk. He's just like you turn around and he's there, and it's kind of campy at this point. Like you shouldn't be afraid. Like Friday the 13th, the whole like, you know, slasher, Jason, like don't go to the lake with your boyfriend kind of thing because you're going to die. You know, that's scary, but like to Ola's point, like it's very situational. And I'm like, as long as I don't turn off all the lights and then walk to a lake in the dark with no one, like I'm probably going to be fine. The way you rationalize safety in your head sometimes is alarming. Yeah, but Michael Myers, he terrifies me.
So I have to tell you about the scariest movie I've ever seen, and it's going to be nobody's ever heard of it probably.
Scary Godmother. No,
it's not Scary Godmother. That was very cute, actually. It sounds like very strange when I'm describing it, but it was very cute. But the movie that terrified me the most was called Knowing. It's a Nick Cage movie. And we just started watching it because, first of all, my husband and my son are obsessed with Nick Cage. They like watch everything that he does. And
he's a vampire.
I'm a fan of Nick Cage as well. I didn't know Nick Cage was a vampire.
You don't know that? That's like lore, like going way back. The whole Nicolas Cage is a vampire. Like he doesn't actually age. Yeah.
It could be true. I've actually seen his Pyramid Mausoleum in New Orleans. So if he ever does get a stake through the heart, that's where he'll be buried. But this movie, I don't know how to describe it, but it was terrifying to me. And I still remember it, and I won't watch it again. And I can hardly remember it. But the scary part was they were investigating some woman who had somehow predicted like a bunch of disasters where a bunch of people died. So they go to her house and they find like these notes, and they like have the date and the number of people who have died. So they're investigating like, why does she know all these people who have died? So then they are still searching because they're like, if she really does know this, can she predict the next thing? And so they flip over this like board, I think, and on the back is etched a date, which is upcoming. And then it says EE all over the back. And it comes to find out EE means everyone else.
Yikes.
And so it's like an apocalypse coming. And now this Nick Cage character knows about it. And somehow it turns out where like aliens come to save his son. So like it kind of goes off the rails, but like that whole build up to her knowing that everybody's going to die. It was just, then the aliens were scary. And I think it was like the aliens were stalking him before. And so like he was trying to figure that out. I don't remember, but
it's the knowing. Cause sometimes like to the point of what I guess the movie is kind of getting at is like, sometimes knowing is the scariest thing, right? Like sometimes you are better off not knowing.
Especially if you can't do anything about it. Yeah, that terrifies me. All right, so I suppose we should get ready to really dive into our episode. Today we are joined by Mary Alice Maloney, the school librarian at Charles J. Sahs School. Welcome, Mary Alice.
Hello. Hi there.
We're so glad to have you today. So we have an icebreaker that we ask everybody that comes on this show. Are you primarily a print reader, an ebook reader, or an audiobook person?
Ooh, at this current moment in my life, I'm pretty much half and half print and audiobook. Yeah, I listen to audiobooks pretty much anytime I'm doing any task, driving to work, walking the dog. But I do love to curl up with a print book as well. So yeah, I kind of half and half for sure.
Nice.
That's a good, we've had like a lot of print readers who like delve into audiobooks, but half and half is a new one for us. So I think we probably someday need to compile these responses and like see what our average is, because that would be interesting.
We have a spreadsheet. I mean, I'm a data person. Of course, I have a spreadsheet of all the responses.
Do you really? You got to share that with me.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I looked at the stats at the end of season 1, and I think there were a lot of print readers.
Yes.
Like it kind of surprised me. I expected everybody to be more heavily digital. But it was, I mean,
See, I'm primarily digital, and I'm out here by myself, I think.
An island.
Yes.
Digital island.
I'm with you. I'm on that island with you, Leah.
Are you a digital person? Yeah. Okay,
I'm
good.
mostly digital for sure. Like, I mean, I do, let's just say, like, I buy a lot of print books, partly to support authors, right? But also because I'm a trophy shelf book buyer.
Obviously, you have a
so
display, so.
I do have a bookshelf. Well, in my bookcase is very, very full. Like, I need another bookcase. People are like, you need to get rid of books. I'm like, no, I just need another bookcase. But
Exactly.
for actual reading, like, I do prefer an ebook, probably because I can change the font size.
Yes.
It's just easier holding it.
And also, I
that
can
kind of
take it
thing.
with me everywhere I go because it's on my phone.
Yeah.
So I'm never stuck without a book. And I should clarify for those of you who are watching the YouTube of this, that is Janette's real, beautiful bookcase. And mine is completely fake
funny.
because I am
So
using a
funny.
background that belongs to somebody else. Okay, so Mary Alice, tell us how you got into working in libraries.
Yes. So it was not my intention, like, really. My first ever job, actually, in high school, I was a page at my local public library, shelving books. And it was okay. It was a way to make money in high school before college. And I was like, well,
Better than working at McDonald's or, like Greasy Spoon.
exactly. Yeah. Just nights and weekends, I'd go and shelve, and it wasn't my favorite thing, truthfully. So went to college. My career goals after I graduated college, I majored in communications, and I was like, I'm going to be a journalist. So I went off into the world to be a journalist. And I actually had a really cool job interview the summer after I graduated college at the Chicago Architecture Foundation for their social media manager. And it was downtown, and I took the train. I was like, this is it. I'm an adult. I've made it. I didn't get that job, and I was kind of bummed. And the summer went on, and I kind of was just applying to jobs. Nothing was working. But in the meantime, my mom was the assistant at the school library the school that I went to, the elementary school I went to. Hazel Green Elementary and Elsip, shout out to them. She was the library assistant there. And that summer that I graduated college, she had to get sciatica surgery. She's all good now, but it's a pretty intense surgery. It's recovery and stuff. So she's like, I'm going to be out recovering for the fall. Why don't you go sub for me, make some money because you don't have a job, and just do that while you kind of think about things. And I was like, Mom, okay, that's a good idea. She was like, you're just kind of laying around my house, like, get out there and do something. I was like, okay. So I went to go sub in her position as an assistant school library aide. Yeah, assistant, And the librarian at the time was actually my 4th grade teacher. So I got to work with her one-on-one.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah, I was like, wait, like, this is so cool. Like, everything she does, I just loved it. I loved everything about it. So then I looked into, I was like, how do I do that? Like, how do I become a school librarian? Because I fell in love with it instantly. So I actually went to Dominican University for undergrad, all of my searches. And I remember being at Dominican for undergrad and them saying, like, you could get an MLIS in 5 years. And I was like, why would I want to do that? I don't want to do that. I graduated and then found my way back. I was like, oh, Dominican is like the place to go, like in the Chicagoland area.
Right.
I found my way back, got my master's at Dominican, and kind of just, that was my path. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do.
That's actually a great place to go because for the people who are not in Illinois, like, there's only 2 schools you can go to in Illinois and get your MLIS and your school library certification at the same time, Dominican or the University of Illinois, UIUC.
And she's also one of the few people that wasn't a teacher first that slid over to being a school librarian, because a lot of our school librarians were teachers for either a short or a long time and then decided to be a school librarian.
Or we've talked to a lot of public librarians who then go into schools and then get their teaching license as, like, while they're doing it. So there's a lot of different paths and no one seems to go like straight through. And I still say it's like because of the fact that, like, I think when you're growing up, no one tells you that that's a career choice, right? Like,
Exactly.
You're never told, like, thinking back to my own experience in libraries, like, that was the no-brainer. Like, I should have been a librarian from day one. If someone would have said, hey, you love all these things, you spend a lot of time in the library, this could be a career, like, I might have pursued that.
Yeah, and once I kind of discovered, I had to see it in action before I really understood what it was.
Exactly.
And now, like, knowing where I'm at, it's like, I'm such a librarian. Like, I can't imagine.
Right?
I've been a librarian my whole life.
Yeah, right? Even, like, looking back at that summer when I was, like, out to be a journalist and going to save the world in a different way, I could tell my heart wasn't in it. That's a very specific field and you have to do kind of a lot of things. And I could just, like, my heart was not in it. So I was kind of like, oh boy, like that, you know, that crash after college.
Yeah.
That crushing realization after college where you're like, I hate this. I hate everything about it.
Yeah.
I did that too. I changed my career completely. So
I don't feel like librarianship or information science is such a huge leap from communications, though, just because of the fact
No,
that
it's
those
not.
fields are so closely tied together. That was something when I was getting my library degree, I was like, I didn't realize how closely tied it all is to, I mean, it makes sense. You're informing the public, you're gathering sources and things like that. Like the research and information piece of it is kind of what ties those together.
Yeah. And so, like, going, again, these two paths that I did not expect to merge, I've used a lot of my communications degree in my profession. And I'm like, yeah, see, I knew what I was doing. That was the plan.
that was the plan all along.
Those skills right now are essential for librarians because you're having to like advocate and market and inform, you know, talking about students and teachers and your community and all the work
And your
that you're doing.
administration and everybody.
And
So yeah.
I think those are the kind of skills kind of on the backside, like we're trying to help people acquire. So you went into it with that whole skill set, which is great.
That is great. You have worked briefly in a public library. So what can you tell us about the difference between school libraries and public libraries? What like are the obvious things that you see? I've never worked at a public library, so.
Yeah, so kind of in this journey of mine, once I decided to go to grad school at Dominican, I graduated with my master's first and then decided to do my student teaching and the kind of education part. So in the meantime, I was like, I have this cool degree. Let me go get a job. And again, make some money while I kind of wait for all the pieces to come together. So yeah, I got a job at the Orland Park Public Library. Shout out to them. One of the best establishments in this earth. It's a fantastic place. I love it. And I worked in adult services there, which a lot of people were like, oh, that's like, what's that about? And I was like, yeah, it's just kind of, you know, it was the position that was open. But I still, so much of what I did as an adult services librarian is applicable to a school library. But one thing that is different for me is just kind of the, like at school, I have a captive audience. Like I have my classes that I see and I know I'm going to see them. And so the things that I plan, like my lessons and my activities, like I know they're going to be there. I know I'm going to have like 19 kids doing this, like, you know, give it or take absences. So, and knowing the exact people, it's not just any people, it's like these exact kids that I know and love, and we're going to do this thing together. Whereas the public library, I did some programs there, and it was so hard, like to do all this work to plan a program or plan something, and then like nobody shows up. And it just broke my heart. Or like other people, like seeing like my coworkers and colleagues doing all this cool stuff. And it's like, only 2 people came, like, oh, well. And they were so good at just like, hey, whatever, on to the next. But I was like, you put so much work into that. And like, so that aspect, I love that at the school, like I have my cast of characters who I get to kind of work with. So that is definitely a benefit for me, for sure.
One of the best things about being a school librarian is connecting with the kids because you see them over and over. And I think I would miss that. I mean, obviously public libraries have regulars, you know, that they see
Yes.
over and over again. But like to get to know a kid over a whole year, or sometimes if like I was in a middle school, so I would get to see a kid over 3 years. So it was just really awesome watching them change and grow and like finally getting them to read something other than Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Like, oh, you're branching out.
I think kids treat teachers or adults in their school differently than they do adults in the community too. So, you know, there's that piece of it as well.
Yes. And I was actually surprised at the library, the public library, how much relationship building there was. Because I was kind of like, okay, I'm just a person, they're just a stranger, like we make it work in the moment. But yeah, the regulars, like I deeply miss some of those regulars that I got to know those couple years that I worked there. And I was surprised, and that was one of my favorite parts. Like, and they were so like the people who 99% of the time, it was great interactions where someone would be like, I want to look up a book. How do I do that? And I would show them the catalog computer and they were like, you just changed my life. This is the best day of my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you're welcome. Like, it was just like, so like, and that was just like a great feeling to connect with people in that way.
That is one of the best parts about being a librarian though, is that impact that you have even in the smallest thing you're doing.
Yes. And then on the flip side, like you said, Leah, like being in a school, the school that I'm at, it's preschool through 8th grade.
Oh, wow. You get to know them a long time.
I get to watch them be babies and then grow up to be like men with mustaches. Like, it's
That's
incredible.
amazing.
And I'm so excited to like, now that year 1 is done and I kind of know like I know everybody now and I just have to learn, you know, the new kindergartners as they come in and preschoolers. Like I'm so excited to watch these kids grow up, and like that connection is just, that to me is what school librarianship, that's like the difference kind of between public and school. Like you really like are a part of their life every day.
Every day.
Whenever they choose to stop in the library. Yeah. So I really value that and cherish that part of it.
So you recently completed your first year, and as we film this, you're starting your second year in the library. So how do you think your first year went?
Overall, it was so fun and so scary. It was like just one of the most like rewarding and challenging. Like I feel like that's kind of a cliche, but it really was true.
It's funny how those two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
Yes. And that I feel like I've never had an experience in my life where like those two things have been so like in tandem, where it's like, wow, this is so hard, but I'm like, I love it. And that like, it's like striking that balance of like where the challenge meets the love of it. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I honestly, truthfully, I'm happy to report that I feel like it went better than I expected it to.
That was going to be my next question. What were you expecting, and did it meet your expectations?
I feel like, especially in the world of teaching and education, everyone kind of says like, oh, well, your first year is the hardest. Like, good luck. Like, it's like the survival, like,
if you make it through, then you're a teacher.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
it's kind of like this trial by fire. Like, if you make it through the burns, like,
It's like you're building everything from the ground up. So like,
Yes.
yeah, I can see why it would be that challenging, right? The first time you've done all of it, right?
Yeah. So just that kind of like, ooh, okay, it'll be like a really, like I was expecting more of like a mental toll, but I'm proud of myself, truthfully, for finding a balance of like going all in and kind of like stepping back. There's a quote actually from E.B. White, it's attributed to him. So the quote is, I arise in the morning torn between a desire to save the world and a desire to savor the world. This makes it hard to plan the day. And
Ooh,
that
that's
kind
a
of
good one.
That is a great quote. I've never heard it before.
I actually heard it. I read the book The Measure on audiobook, by the way, because I'm an audiobook girly. And that's an adult book, but it was a good audiobook, kind of a good thing about like, if you knew how long you had to live, what would you do with that? And that was a quote that got brought up in that book. And obviously my circumstance as a school librarian, much less dramatic, but it kind of was like, okay, like going in, like, do I want to save this place and fix it and do all these things? Or should I just savor it and enjoy it for what it is? So that was kind of my task every day of like, how am I going to approach it? And just, remembering that it's fun. Like, this job is so fun. And that I get to do it is really cool. So that's kind of what I landed on.
That's so funny that you bring up that quote, because that's actually how I decided to change careers to be a librarian. I was working in like a corporate situation, and I was at like a coaching event, and the life coach lady was like, if you knew you had 3 weeks to live, what would you do differently? And so we're like all writing down like, you know, what we would do differently if we knew we had. And then she goes, how do you know you don't have 3 weeks to live? And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's exactly right. What am I doing? So then I decided I was going to do something meaningful with the rest of my life. And I landed on librarianship. And it sounds like you have landed there too. So,
Yes.
And that is a great quote that I am going to use over and over again.
It struck me. It's a good one.
So did you replace somebody? Did you replace somebody who left?
So actually, at this school, I'm the first ever, as far as I know, fully certified school librarian in this role. So last year and a couple of years past, there was a teacher in the library doing lessons and doing library tasks. And there was also an assistant here too. And the assistant retired. The teacher who is here actually moved up to a junior high teaching position. So the library was kind of in this space of like, okay, what's next? So the board and admin decided to create and search for a fully certified librarian, which was great because I was kind of in this place of, I had been an assistant in an elementary school library in the 2023-2024 school year. I was still at the public library. I had a sub position as a school librarian. I was kind of just hodgepodging together in my experience. And I saw this position open up. I was like, ooh, like, that sounds great. Because kind of how they were presenting it was that I would get to build the program from the ground up. And I was like, ooh, that sounds really good for where I'm at. Like, that's kind of the work that I want to do. So, it's kind of me forging my own path, which is so fun, but also so terrifying. Like, again.
And also a ton of work.
Yes.
Because you're like weighing everything and like, are we going to incorporate this? Are we not? Are we going to include it or not?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just me.
Oh, it is. You don't have an assistant now?
No, yeah. So it's just me kind of running the show, which is like the great, again, great. I'm like, oh, yes, it's all me. And then I'm like, oh, boy, it's all
But
me.
it's all me.
So I'm just curious, if you're the only librarian, how many students are you serving?
We, right now, we're just under 300.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's still a lot of students.
It is a lot of students.
I know. It's funny because, as a librarian, we talk all the time about how we get to know every single kid and every single person. It doesn't feel like that many to me because I know everybody.
Yeah.
And like, oh, these are my kids and it's great. But it is, yeah. So it's still like a sizable community that I'm servicing. And also it's interesting for me too because I've worked in elementary settings and junior high settings. And when I first wanted to become a school librarian, junior high is where my sights were set. I just love the junior high. It's such an interesting part of life. Like for
It is. And I always say to like my friends that work in junior highs and middle schools, I'm like, you either love that phase of adolescence or you want to avoid it.
Exactly. Yes. Like you can't see anything around it. Yeah.
Right.
What I always said about middle school kids is like, they are goofy, they are nuts, but when you need love, they deliver. They are the most lovable group of kids because they're still
like
kids.
young at
Yes.
yeah, they're still young. And so I guess my question for you, knowing the demographic that you're serving though, is how challenging has it been, or I guess what have been the biggest challenges in building that program for both elementary and middle school, like for their needs curriculum wise, but also just, like emotional, social wise?
Yes. Yeah. That has been like, to me, truthfully, when I saw the listing and I saw that the school was K-8, pre-K through 8th, I was like, oh, that's perfect because I love junior high. But working at this elementary school last year, I really fell in love with that K-5, K-6 crew. So here I kind of get to put it all together. And I feel like I do have one library, like one library space. But to me, it's like I'm kind of running 2 library programs out of one location,
You are, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's been a really interesting because so I'm in the specials rotation for kindergarten through 5th grade. So I see those classes once a week. And then junior high is 6th through 8th grade. And they come in at least once a week for checkout as a whole class. And sometimes they trickle in, for open checkout throughout the day. So it was kind of nice coming in that being part of the specials rotation, I had my time. I have 42 minutes with each class, which is great. It's a nice.
That's great. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a nice block of time.
Yeah, definitely. So it gives me enough time to, do my read aloud, do my lesson. Also just like yap with the kids.
Yes.
Like, they are so
that's like
good.
one of the best parts. It's just talking with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're so good at like getting me off track. And I'm like, oh, so like, it's just, and truthfully though, in my first year, like, it was kind of intentional sometimes. Like, I want them to get to know me and I want them to tell me their stories. And I lost a tooth and my grandpa's birthday's tomorrow. Like, yes, tell me everything. So I'm happy that I had that time built in to kind of like chat with them and get to know them. So really, like, one of my goals going forward is to do more for junior high because I feel like, they're here K-5th and then they kind of go upstairs, so to speak, to junior high. And it's just a different, their flow and their relationship with the library changes. So I would love to kind of solidify more programming for them. So now that we're in the second year, that's kind of my, one of
your goals.
Yes. It's kind of bringing
the good thing is though that they have a relationship with you. So even though the relationship with the library might change, having you there is going to make it easier for them, I think.
The consistency is nice.
I was junior high and like they were coming from 3 schools to 1. So, and then they had to get to know all new teachers and then they had to get to know a new librarian and get to know all new classmates. And it was kind of hard. So I want to go back to, you were talking about how the administration had decided to really create this role where you're a certified librarian. So that is great news. We love to hear that. So many times we hear that the person who was doing the library retired, so they either decide to fill it with like whoever they can find that's not doing something else at that particular time, or they're just like, well, this is the time that we close the library. So that's bad news. So it sounds like you have administrators who are committed to the success of the program and see the importance of libraries. So what was your relationship with the administration of your school like?
I feel like we had a really good first year. They were very like open and receptive to kind of my approach to librarianship. And really, I feel like what this first year for both of us was, it was me kind of teaching everybody kind of, but admin especially, like, what is a library? What is the role of a certified librarian? What is like a certified library program? Like, how do we incorporate it into every aspect of the school? So it's kind of that conversation a lot, and kind of conversation, and also just me kind of doing and living, and all of us like, oh, like, this is happening. This is cool. So I feel like we had some really good conversations, and they seem excited to develop the program. And it's a really great place to be. And like, really, I feel like the truth of like building it from the ground up, they're just like, yeah, like, let's do it. So
what do you think is the most crucial part or the key piece to building that relationship with your administration, like to having that like open channel of communication? What's the key piece to that for you?
I feel like kind of just always, like, whether it's a big conversation or a meeting or an email, or just like, how are you in the hallway, or like, you know, a lot of times, like, before classes come in, I stand out in the hall to wait for the class to come in, and people are kind of walking by. And if admin walks by, I'm like, hey, good morning, how are you? Like, just waiting for third grade. Like, just little teeny tiny things that kind of get you out there. And it can be really hard to do that, for sure, depending on who your admin is, you know. And I will say too, like, it's been really good, but it's always daunting to be new in a job and to not really know, like, who these people are and what they want and
how they feel and what they think. And yes.
Yeah. And it's hard when you're in a position like you were describing where you're teaching them what the library can be. And so it's almost like, I think sometimes people are worried that their administrators are not going to appreciate that. Like when you come to the situation as the expert, as opposed to them coming from a position of, I don't want to say power, but for lack of a better word, a position of power where they're telling you how the school's going to run. Like you have to find that middle ground where you're informing them and kind of directing the work without making them feel like you're trying to undermine their authority, I guess.
Yes. And I will say tough too, like, yeah, it's a super hard dynamic to strike. And I feel like we're in like a good place now, like in the second year, but even at the beginning, there is, and I have years and years worth of ideas of things that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I came in, and I'll be honest, like, it was a place where you could tell that there wasn't a certified librarian before, just a lot of different things where it's like, okay, like now that I'm here, here's how I want to do things. And so I would talk to my librarian friends, like this great network that I've been lucky enough to build through ISLE and different resources and just all the great library people in this world. Like, oh my gosh, like I want to do this, and this is like this, like, could you believe this? And they were like, love it, but you have to like take a breath and relax and just like learn everybody's name first. Like, find where the bathroom is. Like,
it's easy to get swept up in it,
right?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, okay, guys, like, here's what we're gonna do, but they're also still getting to know me. So just that like librarian mode really hit hard, and I was like, wait, yeah, let me just like, I don't have to change the world in the day. Again, that am I gonna save the world or savor it?
Right.
But also not undermining myself. And like you said, Janette, like I am still the expert of the library.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot of tact. It's a lot of balance. It's a lot of like little teeny things that you don't feel like you're making progress. But then all of a sudden the superintendent comes to you and says, hey, remember when you said that and you want to get new furniture? Like, let's do that. I'm like, ooh, yes, that worked. Like they remembered.
Nice.
So just little things. Don't ever be afraid to just say your little things, and hopefully, I don't know, it'll come back.
I think what you're basically is like communication and visibility are like the two main things. And like, if I could tell every school librarian, don't hide in the library, like be out there. My principal once told me right after I had started, like it was my second year, I think, he's like, you're the most visible librarian I've ever had. And then I'm like, he didn't say I was the best or like...
He didn't say you were the worst either, though. He just said visible.
But that's a good thing. They cannot forget you're there if you're visible. And that's, just, and then if you do just say, hey, if you think about this, we might need new furniture. Like, that's a great thing to like throw out there. And instead of like going in there like this, we need new furniture and this is why. And, it's just, it's so important.
The hiding in the library can be like very out of sight, out of mind, right? Like, they're dealing with so many different things, various aspects of the school to keep it all moving in the right direction, right? So the library is just one of the cogs in the wheel. And so, making yourself known on a regular basis is really important. And
another thing that I, like, since we have this luxury of it all being new, like, new and next chapter type of stuff. Like
Right.
a lot of times what I would frame things, I'd say like, here's my vision, or like, oh, I sit in there and I dream of like different things. Like not like, oh, like you said, Leah, like we need to do this or else type thing. Like obviously that's not gonna work, but just like, here's what I'm dreaming. Like I love this space and I know you do too. Like kind of let them in on like, oh, cool. Wouldn't this be cool? Like
Make them see what's possible.
right. Yes. Tell them your dreams and they'll tell you like, well, here we are in reality, but like
This is like pie in the sky, and this is like the turnover you actually get. You know?
Right,
But I think that's where your communications background really does come in. Like, and I don't want to keep like harping on like, oh my gosh, you have all these skills. But that is a key part of it. And I think that that's something that people kind of forget is like, just knowing how to build that kind of relationship and connect is really a key piece of this, because you can be an expert, but if you can't convey how or why you're going to implement something or how it impacts the school overall or what that looks like in connection with the vision that they have for the school, then probably you're not going to get as much traction.
I agree. So what was the thing that surprised you most about your first year?
So one of the most surprising things to me, truthfully, was how welcoming the kids were to me.
Aww.
They were just like,
That's sweet.
they were that first year. They still are today, like the biggest sweeties. Like I'll never forget on my very first day, we do like different outside duty and door duty and stuff. And I was outside on the playground, the big first day, like everyone with their bags and stuff and the parents. And I was like, oh, like I'm new. Nobody knows who I am.
Exciting / terrifying first day.
For sure. I was like, I'm just as scared
But part of the rush of being a
Yes.
teacher and a school librarian. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, like, yeah, back to school is so fun. And I was just like, sometimes as a librarian, you kind of live in this undefined, like, obviously the classroom teachers are with their homerooms. And it's like, okay, like, I don't have classes yet, but like, I still want to be out there and be seen. And like, who is this person? So yeah, just that whole balance. But so I was out in the playground, and then the library is kind of right by the door the kids come in. So I came in and I was kind of just like, hi, everybody. Nice to meet you, whatever. And 2 8th graders came up to me and they were like, hi, who are you? And I was like, I'm Miss Maloney. I'm the new librarian here. And they were like, oh, welcome to Sahs. And they just gave me the biggest hugs. I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, I could do this. Yeah. And like, I don't even know if they remember that, because throughout the year, they were just like,
Sup? Like pass you in the hallway. Yeah. Like,
yeah, right. I'm like, do you remember that you like changed my life forever? And they're like, whatever, I'm just in 8th grade.
But that, I mean, I guess like also again underscores like how like the smallest little act makes a big impact. Just like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. And so they were just so curious and excited and like, who are you? Like, what is this place? Or not what is this place? They know it's the library, but they're like, what are you doing here? Like, it was so great. Like, and mostly as educators, like, we kind of know that at their core, kids are good. Kids are sweet, kids are great to be around. But like, just their genuine love and the welcoming nature of them, like, was just so great. And that's honestly, I feel like, a piece of advice to like a new school librarian is, if you're nervous about, you have a big role, right? You're kind of responsible for getting to know everybody. It's a lot of opinions, a lot of adults, kids, all this stuff kind of like being thrown at you in your first year. One thing that I remembered is that every single kid is experiencing a lot of newness as well. Like, they're only in 4th grade once. They're only in 6th grade once. So in their mind, it's like, oh, well, my teacher in 2nd grade had a lizard. In 3rd grade, I have a new librarian. Like, to them, it's just kind of like, they don't think about it as much as you do of like, oh, this is new and this is different. It's like a lot of things are new to them every year. So just kind of roll with that, I don't know, that kind of like mindset of like, a lot of it is new and like, it's good. New is good. So that kind of helped me. It's like, this is new to a lot of us. So like, I wasn't alone in that feeling.
And I feel like that for even like veteran teachers, every year is a new year. It's all new when you come back.
Everybody's getting used to everybody every single time.
Right. It's like seasons of a TV show is how I think of school. It's like who's renewed. Yeah.
And who dropped out of the cast, and who's our new guest star and all of that.
Yeah, or like even reality TV shows, right? Because it's the same concept, different players every time. So sometimes some seasons the dynamic is explosive and you're like, yes, I'm all in. And then some seasons you're like, I don't really want to watch any of this.
Yes.
So you kind of touched on this, and I'm going to like roll 2 questions in together. So advice for first year librarians rolled in with like, do you have any regrets from your first year? Things that you would not do again or things that you would do differently?
Yeah, like what's your cautionary tale?
Yes.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. That's a good way to frame it. Well, one other piece of advice that I have for first-year school librarians, kind of what we talked about before about like being new, is to let yourself be new. It's okay to be the new guy, the new girl, the new person. Like, because I feel like as librarians, we have this sick and twisted need to know everything all the time. And if we don't know, we're like, well, I know how to figure it out. But like,
That is so true.
right?
Oh my gosh.
Like, you're like,
I've
okay.
never felt so like exposed in my life.
Yeah, I see you guys sweating a little bit.
I was like, "Ooh." Okay.
It's like, we're just, right? That's kind of the way we're wired, is to like, well, let's figure this out. But like, it's totally okay. And I encourage you, honestly, to just accept I'm new. I don't know what's going on every single day. I don't know these people. Like, especially my school, there are a lot of educators who have been here for like 20, 25 years. They have a lot of history. They have a lot of things that I just wasn't there for. So it's okay to be new. It's okay to not understand. It's okay to ask someone where the bathroom is. Like, it's okay to just like, no one is judging you. And if they are mean to you about it, then that's not your person and you will find your people. Yeah. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions and ask for help.
Do you feel like it's maybe different for someone who was a teacher who moves into the library? Like it's still a first year librarian, but it's a different type of experience, right?
Yeah. And I guess it depends on if you're a teacher who moved into the library at your current school, that's a lot of institutional knowledge that you're taking with you, right?
Yeah,
But if
very
you
true.
switch to a new school, I feel like it might be similar because you can say like, oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
a teacher, but they didn't necessarily see that part of you. They just like, oh, well, this is just the new librarian. So let's.
The newness is consistent. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still the same, right?
Yeah, it's just a lot of newness. And I feel like, and truthfully, like in my career so far, I have been, I don't want to say a job hopper, but like maybe, like I kind of, like I said, I was kind of like melding together a lot of different experiences. So I kind of got used to being new. It's like, okay, like I'm new here, like getting to know people. So that in and of itself is truly like a skill, I feel like.
It is a life skill. I think that like a lot of kids, people talk about military families and things like that. And that's one of the skills that they have, those kids who are raised in that type of environment. They're used to the
Very
the
adaptable.
newness and yeah, adaptation. That's a great way to put it.
So yeah, just don't be scared. And again, if people are mean to you, you feel like they are judging you for being new and not knowing, you'll find people who support you and are your cheerleaders. You will. I promise you will. So that took me a while to let that sink in, but I was like, no, it's okay.
It's hard.
Yes, it's hard,
It's
but I was
hard.
like, I'm all right. Like, yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, if you find somebody who is like that, who is not the most friendly or welcoming, it's just that they're overwhelmed. You know, that's a they problem, not a you problem.
Right.
99% of the time. So
Yeah. It's like maybe we're both feeling some type of way and like it looks like we're not going to solve it together. So let's just take a breather. Yeah, exactly.
we had a really tough math teacher when I started teaching. First of all, my first year, I was terrified. I was terrified because I had planned to be with elementary school, but the job that was open was middle school. So I was scared of the kids. I was scared of the teachers. I was just terrified. And there's this one math teacher who was super like tough, like direct and like gruff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have got to avoid him at all costs. Because first of all, I hate math. Like it was just not, we were not going to mix. And one day, like on the last day of school of that first year, he's walking down the hall. And I always hate that because like you're far enough away, you have to like plan how you're going to greet each other, right?
Right.
He's looking at, and then he sees me and he starts walking over towards me, like very directly. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm like, I'm in trouble. I'm like, I must have done something wrong. And he comes up and he shows me a joke on his phone. And I'm just like,
You're like, I'm sweating and now you're showing me a joke. Like,
Right.
what's going on
It's
here?
like, you know memes? Like, okay, yeah, let's talk about memes. Like, what? Yeah.
I thought you hated me. I thought I was in trouble. Yeah. So
When really he's just quiet. To a lot of the points that we've made in this episode, like there's too many for me to go back and like recall all of them. Like a lot of this is stuff that we create for ourselves. Like they're roadblocks that we put in our own ways. And like it's figuring out how to not do that, right?
figuring
And
how to
that's-
get
that's
out
a-
of your own way.
Yes, I
Well,
mean,
talk about a life skill.
Yeah, that is a life skill and it is hard and you have to learn it over and over. It does not stick.
Yes.
no, it really doesn't.
That's one thing, yeah. And I feel like part of my experience, like if I was like 23 in doing this, I think I would have crumbled. I would have just like, you wouldn't be hearing from me. Like it was just like, it would have been a lot.
in the corner,
Yes.
rocking still.
Really, yeah. Everyone's like, where's Miss Maloney? And you crying in the corner. But with the different experiences I put myself through, and, I guess that's life. Like, you just kind of build experiences, you take chances on yourself and in your career. So I just feel like I was in a very good space professionally and kind of personally to give this a good go. And yeah, like I learned, like, as much as like, obviously it's my job and I take it very seriously, like, it's okay to just like, let go, take a breath. Like, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go home, pick it back up.
It's not your life.
Exactly.
Right,
Yes.
right.
It's like, I do have a life outside of these walls. But one thing that Leah talked about, just like, you never know like who people are going to be and like getting to know everybody. When I left the Orland Library, I went out with some friends of mine there. We were talking about like, okay, like the school librarian. And I was like, guys, like, who are these people going to be? Like my new coworkers, like, what are they going to be? And my former boss there, who's a good friend of mine now, she was like, they're just going to be the full tapestry of humanity.
It's so true.
And that kind of like was a weird grounded thing of like, ooh, okay, didn't like that, but like, that's the full tapestry. Like,
yeah.
Okay, like, I don't know, just to like, that's what makes the world go round, right? So even if it's frustrating, it doesn't mean that you're doing a bad job or you're doing something wrong. It's just,
exactly.
But it is hard. Like there's a level of maturity that comes with being able to let that roll off, right? And to not take things personally, because we do get really invested in the work that we do. And it's hard to not let it define you. And, because we bring so much of ourselves to it.
Yeah. When it really is a career, like being a librarian, I feel like in any setting, but especially in schools, so much of it is like a vocation almost. As I feel like
yes, it's a calling, I believe.
Yeah.
And which is beautiful, but it's also like, it's okay to step away and just
it's okay to like just want to go home and play with your dog. Like, it is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and like I was having a whole conversation with someone the other day about how you can love your job and not want to be at work. Like, it's okay to feel that way. Like, there are other parts of you. Even though you love being a librarian, sometimes you need a break. And that's how we all survive.
But I think that's a hard thing for teachers, especially, and public librarians. I think work-life balance is very hard because you do see things that break your heart every day that you want to make better. And it's hard to then to go home and play video games or whatever you want to do, It's
also one of the things I think that just is difficult about education as a career is, like in every single role, you're taking something home. There's never enough hours in the day to do the work. Like you're at school and the things that you're doing are directly related to or centered around the students, which they should be, right? Like that's, but when the school day ends, it's like you still have a mountain of things you need to do. Like somehow in some way you have to read all the books that you need to talk about with classes, or you need to
order the books.
Right. You need to order the books. You have to do all your administrative stuff. But
and
then
put
also
them back on the shelf.
Like, I remember, media specialists and things, helping them put together like stacks of books for teachers for research projects for students and things like that. It's like that all takes a lot of time. Like, I mean, sure, as a librarian, you get familiar with your collection and you kind of know year after year, like, oh, it's this lesson. Last year I pulled these books and, is that the same, different? Do I need to put something else in there? But at the same time, you're like, it takes time to look through and be like, is this book the right book for this project, right? You have to know that. And you don't just, it's like, I wish we were all omniscient, but we're just not, right?
We play that role of being omniscient, but really we're just looking things up, right?
Right? I mean, we're just effective Googlers, like, honestly.
Yes.
We just know how to perform an effective search.
That's right. We sure do.
I mean, it's very hard.
But also, it is the best job you can have, honestly, in my opinion.
It's a great job.
Uplifting, and I loved being a school librarian because I didn't really give them homework. I didn't make them do something that they didn't want to do. They may have hated reading, but I love to strike that balance. Like, I'm not going to force you to read anything. I'm not going to give up on trying to get you to read, but together we'll find something. And above all, I mean, obviously I wanted them to read, but above all, I wanted them to be comfortable coming to the library for help, no matter what.
I connect with so many adults who go back to reading. Like they were readers as kids, and then because of their studies and how like rigorous everything is, and I don't want to say forced reading, but the required reading and just different things, like they kind of lose interest in reading for fun because they're like, I'm already reading for all of these other tasks. They need to turn their brain off, and reading is not the thing they go to. So they lose interest, and then they go back to and realize it can be a leisure activity. It can be for entertainment. It can also be for information, but like hey, you can learn to enjoy a book again. I think their relationship with literature changes through the course of their life too.
And that's why librarians are so crucial, right? We have to be
Right.
there to shepherd that relationship all through periods of life. We're going to jump into thinking about year 2. So you're starting year 2. What are your plans for year 2? What are your main priorities for year 2?
I mean, again, like I said, I feel like I have years and years worth of ideas brewing in my brain. So kind of like focusing on this year, I feel like still certainly relationship building. That kind of never ends, right? Like in this type
Never.
of role. So still solidifying myself as, a presence in the building, kind of still having those conversations about what is a library? What is the librarian's role? And one thing actually talking about like building the culture of reading and that type of thing. One of my goals for year 2 and forward is still kind of cultivating a culture of reading in my building that isn't quite as, I don't know if I want to say strict is the word, but my building currently uses accelerated reader, which, many
Love, hate.
Yes, like we have a complicated relationship
We
with
could
accelerated
do an
readers.
entire podcast about
We
accelerated
really
reader.
could. Or just reading programs in general.
Yeah,
right?
yes. It's just such a conversation, such a discussion. And actually, during my first year, I reached out to the IEL listserv about accelerated reader, and I feel like I was like the main character of the listserv for a couple days there. But it was great. I was really happy.
Is that a popularity you liked or
it was
not?
scary. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely a moment, maybe like a rite of passage in every librarian's life to be the IEL listserv main character. But also, truly, another piece of advice for first-year librarians: get into IEL, get into the listserv. Like that is like your sounding board when you feel like you're on this island of just, you and your school by yourself. Like the listserv is a truly great resource. And I learned something new from there every day, truly. But I reached out just for people's opinions on AR and kind of like my situation. And I valued the feedback on I think both of you, I think maybe emailed me, and I don't think I ever got back to you individually, but I really did. I took it to heart and, added it to my case file here, so to speak. So just, I feel like in my schools, the approach to the library is that the library is like, it has been treated as kind of a direct extension of the reading classroom. And by that, I mean the kids would come to the library and check out books like in their level exclusively.
For a test.
Yes, to take
So
the
much
test.
restriction around selection.
Yes.
Just a lot of restriction. And my whole thing, I'm like, we're cracking this baby open. Like, we have so many books in here. Like, please touch them. Please look at them. Explore, discover. That's kind of what I want my message to be to my building. It's like the library is a place to explore. It's a place for interest-based learning. And like, I'm not a reading teacher. I'm a librarian. And there's a huge difference. We need reading teachers are essential for all of us, but I have a different role. Like they teach the kids how to read. I teach the kids how to build a relationship with reading.
That's a great way to describe it.
That is a great way to
honestly.
describe it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of how it has clicked in my brain. Yeah.
I was completely with you, and I'm just like, oh, okay, we have to find this book on your level. And it went both ways. Like, I felt like kids that had a lower reading level were like really hamstrung. They couldn't like explore or take a risk sometimes.
Yeah.
And then they have the kids with this really high reading level. And I'm like, but sometimes they just want to read, fun stuff, that's like a brain break.
Sometimes you just want a horse book and you don't want to have to read something that's like War and Peace.
Like sometimes those little kids who are just fantastic readers still just want to read Magic Treehouse,
Yes.
Yeah.
And partly that's maybe why I have a personal beef with AR, because it was huge when I was a kid in school. And when I was in like 3rd grade, according to AR, I had like a 9th grade reading level or something. I don't know. And I remember the stickers for my books were brown. I'd look at the brown books. And one of the books that was in my level was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I was an 8-year-old girl. So I wanted so bad to read the American Girl doll books. I was obsessed with
Oh, I love those books.
Yes.
I still own those books.
Or the Dear America, the Scholastic Dear America. Oh, I love those. Yeah.
Like those were my jam as a kid. And so, but I couldn't get them from the school library. And luckily, I came from a home and parents who would take me to the library, take me to the bookstore, and we read. That was kind of our thing. Not every kid has that. Like this is your exposure to books. So it's like, I want it to be positive. I want them to have autonomy in the decisions they make to read, not just based on the stickers on the spine. And I will say, I've had a credit to my admin. We've had a lot of good conversations about this. So, you know, it's a process to make change, and I want there to be buy-in, and I want everyone to kind of understand where I'm coming from. So just continuing that work and those conversations of like, here's what I want the library to be, and here's how I'd like to do it.
This is a really great point. I love the whole idea of it being about relationships, because it reminds me of a student that I used to, because I volunteered a lot in our elementary school library. And so I was there circulating, cataloging, doing whatever the media specialists need me to do. But there was a little boy who would come in, and he was always, I mean, you have the same volunteer slot week to week. So like I saw a lot of the same kids, right? And his struggle was that he was a high level AR reader, but he wanted to pick out books to take home and read to his little brother. And so where's that? I know, right? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, but you have to be over here. He's like, my brother doesn't want to listen to chapter books. And I was like, I know, he wants pictures because he's 3. But, you know, unfortunately, and he did have a very strict teacher who wouldn't really let him check out just whatever he wanted. So,
see, that's
but
my
it was
hate.
so hard not to be like, I just want to slip you this picture book under the radar. Like, you take home some Lily Purple's plastic purse and you just be happy about it.
Yeah, or like a lot of kids in my library love cookbooks. And I want to get more.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah, that is a huge thing. Like kids love
but it's so
cookbooks.
exciting. I love that, especially because it's science,
Yes.
right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, they just love to, and I'm always like, what are you going to make me? And they're like, I'll make you something. And they never do, but I'm like, okay. Yeah. But I love that, like, try it, like, go home and try it. So that's hard. That also is hard for AR. It's like, well, like, you can't take a test on a cookbook, but like, you want to use this material from your school library.
Right.
So just like a lot of the nuances that I think maybe people here didn't even realize what was going on, but I've kind of been like, hey, here's what I'm experiencing. So I feel like, you know, just kind of that incremental change. And just, again, like the kids, like their whole general feeling towards the library, like I feel like there's been a good positive change this year. So just keeping that momentum.
Well, it's like the balance between the academic rigor and the read whatever you want, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
and the social emotional impact of reading, you know, because yes, I am becoming a great reader, but sometimes I just need to read about like when your puppy dies, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Like,
yeah. And that's so true too, because as school librarians, like we are in the business of teaching kids to read, so to speak. And so you want to match that rigor, like you said, but there's also this whole other side to the school library that is incredibly important. So, yeah. Oh, balance. So many balancing acts.
I know it is.
Right?
It's juggling for sure.
Yeah, so many balls in the air all the time.
So what do you think the biggest difference about year 2 is or is going to be?
Yeah, how are you approaching this? Like, do you have a completely different way that you're looking at things this time?
I feel like this year, like year 1 was so much of kind of seeing how things were done. You know, it was kind of me very much in like an observation role in many ways.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm still very proud of a lot of things I accomplished and a lot of the programming I was able to do and lessons we did. And we did a lot of great fun stuff, which I'm very happy that we were able to do. But this year, I feel like I'm like, okay, I have a little more agency to make changes now that I kind of see like, okay, I see what was happening. Some great things, some things I'm like, yeah, this is great. Let's keep doing it. And some things I'm like, oh, maybe I want to tweak this and change this. So I feel like, and also like I can now say that I'm not new. Like I'm still new,
True.
But I'm like, I made it through that first year hurdle. And as frustrating as that is, where it's like, oh, you're just like the first year, like time heals that. So
yes, it does. And the next thing you know, you wake up, you've been there 15 years. That's just how that works.
It's like,
Like, how did this happen, right?
Yes, yeah. So kind of just that, like, yeah, like I know where the bathroom is. I know everybody's name. Like, so.
You know how to get a purchase order through. You know how to,
exactly.
like all of those things.
The
yes.
logistical things that are so hard to learn.
Yes.
Was there anything that you had hoped to do in year 1 that you didn't, that you planned to do in year 2?
Oh, well, so one thing, I was really, again, I'm proud of myself at how much I tried and how much I threw out there. So I have in my library, it's like a kind of like a shadow box display case where it's like this really pretty wooden like thing and it sticks out. There's some shelves in there. And at a library I worked at previously, the librarian had collections. So she would have the kids bring like their collections from home. Like one kid collected like animal teeth. So it was like his puppy's missing tooth and like a shark teeth he found on vacation. And like baseball cards, like gymnastics medals. Like it was just so cute. And like the kids, it was like a people from all over the school would come to the collections case to look at the collection. So
I love that.
was
Oh
really
my
good.
gosh. I'm starting that right. Oh, wait. I don't have a library or know any kids.
It doesn't matter. So let's start one at work. Like, we could do it at our offices. That would be amazing.
yes, like, yeah, just like so. And shout out to Joanna Merrick for that idea. I worked with her at her school.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Joanna
yeah.
Merrick.
Name drop,
She's
yeah.
amazing.
He is like one of the best people on this earth, and like one of the best librarians. So I learned so much from her. And I tell her all the time that I was forged in the fire of the Joanna Merrick School Librarian. So, yeah, she's great. So I wanted
That's not a bad school to be forged
No,
in,
that's
honestly.
a very good school to come from. Yeah.
truly like, and I'm so lucky to have had the time to work with her. So I was going to steal that idea from her. So on my shadow box, we have this really cool like letter printing system, like, and we have a poster printer here too. So there's
Oh,
a
nice.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I was playing around with that stuff. So on the shadow box, like in August before school started, I was like, I'm not sure about the logistics of how I want to do the collections thing yet. So let me just put coming soon on this shadow box case. And it was there all year. Like I never.
Coming
and it was
soon.
kinda
How much
sweet.
sooner can it
Right, because
come?
the kids were like, so what's coming soon? Like, what's happening? Like, oh,
You just don't know. You'll know when it's there.
yes. And it was kind of precious though, because some kids, like the first graders, couldn't really read at the beginning, but by the end of the year, they were like, coming soon. I was like, oh, you just read that. That's amazing. They were like, yeah. They were like, what's coming soon? I was like, don't worry about it. Long story.
You're like, it's been there all year. Have you not?
right. Like today, we're further today than we are yesterday.
Time is
so-
relative, kids.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They have no idea. But again, like I don't regret like having that idea and trying it, because if anything, it was a conversation starter between me
Right,
and the
true.
kids and whatever. So now that I kind of have the basics kind of covered, everything kind of changes, right? But like trying more things like that, more kind of experimental programming and kind of seeing how that goes. Like if I can fit that in somewhere, we'll see.
That's amazing. I hope it works out.
I hope it does too. And you know, like if it does, I totally want to see pictures. So definitely share that if you do it. And like parents would love to see that. Even if you just do a newsletter for,
And
you know.
the IL listserv is a great place, or any listserv, like a library listserv, would be a great place to share that, because people would love that idea.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
So our final question, if somebody is getting into school librarianship or thinking about it, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
I would say absolutely go for it. It's the best thing you will ever do. When I tell people, they're like, oh, what do you do? And I say I'm a school librarian, they're like, that's so cool. I'm like, I know. Like, I know it is. Like, it's just like the best spot in the school. And even teachers, like every school I've worked at, it would, in whatever capacity, like in the library, people are like, this is like the best. And I love how people are so sweet. They come in and they're like, wow, like it's so quiet in here. And I'm like, you just missed the class of kindergartners that we were screaming and singing. And like I had 8th grade in here and we were like, and another piece of advice too is like that librarians that I worked with told me is that every person in your school only knows what you do for them. Like the 2nd grade teacher knows what you do for them. The 8th grade teacher knows what you do for them, but nobody knows what all you do for everybody, right? And that's true in any role,
True.
any profession. Like nobody knows what exactly you're doing all day. So some people, they walk in the 2 minutes in between classes and you're like on your computer, they're like, oh, look at you. It's so quiet in here. Make sure you say like, oh yeah, I just had kindergarten. I have 8th grade coming in next. Like, don't be afraid to tell them like, oh,
Yep.
cool. Like
You have
I just,
to toot your own horn. That's 100% true. Shameless self-promotion. I come to it again and again, which is also advocacy.
It is advocacy, you're right. And I know a school librarian who posted the schedule for the library on a bulletin board that was next to the door where the classes lined up to go back. Because she's like, every teacher will look at that and know exactly how busy I am all week long. And I was like, that's kind of
That's
like
brilliant.
passive aggressive, but no. Anyway, but it was a good idea. Like to your point, like people don't see in your room aside from when they're there.
right. Yeah. And it's just and it's an interesting perception people have of the library sometimes, I feel like, but just, yeah, don't be afraid to say like, here's what I'm up to.
I would tell them how many books I checked out in a month, and it
Yes.
would blow
Yeah.
their minds. So it's just very important to let people know what you're doing.
Definitely. I did a little like stats thing. I think it was in January after winter break of just like kind of where we were, like how many classes I saw. And it was like over 300 classes came in, like this many, whatever, just like pretty simple stuff. But people were like, wow, like that many kids, like teachers, kids alike. I was like, yeah, like, isn't it pretty cool what we do in here? So yeah, don't be afraid to, if people are like, oh, this is a pretty sweet gig. Be like, yeah, it is. Like, I love the library. Like, because I feel like sometimes people say that as like a dig. Like, oh, look at you. You just get to sit in
You
the
get to read all day in the quiet. Yeah.
right. It's
But
like,
those are the complete misconceptions that we have to like dispel, right? Like
Yes.
yes.
the myths of school librarianship. And I mean any librarianship. You do not get paid to read all day.
You
Like
do not. No.
I sent one of my good friends a sticker that was an empty jar. I think I maybe even have talked about this before, but it was a picture of an empty jar and it said, "This is the jar of all the money I've made in the job where I read all day." And it's like, there's none. Like you
There
don't
is
get paid to read.
Yeah. I say that I have never had less time to read for pleasure than since I became a librarian.
Literally.
Because there's so much reading that you do just to do your job, you know?
So yeah, if you are looking into this field, do it. You won't regret it. But also I would say like be prepared for some of the, I don't know, the nuances of working in a school. Like if you're a librarian, if you're a public librarian, you're like, oh, working in a school library is probably just like working in children's services. It's very, very, very,
It is very different.
different. Like you're just under different expectations because you're a teacher. If you're a certified librarian in a school, you are a teacher, you're an educator. So you kind of have to, like, that's a whole part of your identity and your role that you have to fulfill. So it's a very different flow, a different role that you take. But if it sounds at all intriguing to you, go for it.
I 100% agree. You should totally dive in. That brings us to our last little segment that we call shelf care, because we know that first of all, just being a human right now is kind of hard, I think. Being an educator is very hard. Just being with people is hard. So what do you do to kind of like take care of your mental health and keep yourself uplifted? I mean, we know you like listen to your audiobooks on your way home. You do anything else like that?
Yes, beyond that, one thing that really like centers me and just like is my happy place is just being outside. Sitting and walking are two of my favorite outside activities. I could sit outside on a porch or in a chair for hours. Like I will soak up these nice days for as long as I can. And even if there's like a peak of sunshine, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go sit outside. And it just kind of like, it's like calming for me. And of course, like I'm a librarian, so I bring a book 9 times out of 10. But then sometimes I scroll on my phone, which is not good for my mental health. So I put that down. And I just really try to be present in the outdoors. That like is so good for me. I love sitting outside.
That's so funny because we were just in our pre-show banter talking about how like we all love fall when the sun goes away, basically.
That's so funny.
We're like, we're hiding inside until the Bernie thing in the sky dies down.
Like, get out of here. Yeah, I love the sunshine. And it's just a reminder of like, it's all bigger than me, which is so dramatic and cheesy, but it's like, you get so lost in your little day-to-day.
No, you are 100% correct.
I do feel like it's very much, you're influenced by that. Like when it's bright and sunny outside, like it can completely affect your mood, right? But like, I don't mind being outside when it's sunny. I don't want to be hot when it's sunny.
Yes.
So that's a hard thing.
So yeah, that is just a nice breath of fresh air for me.
So is there anything else that you want to talk about or promote while you're here with us?
So one thing, again, my librarian heart, just I can't get enough of books and reading. I have a Bookstagram account. It's just on Instagram, Mary Alice Reads. And I started it, actually, it was kind of a pandemic project for me. So I started it, it's been over 5 years now since I've had my Bookstagram account. Just because like, in 2020, I was like many of us, we're like, let's read books and see how much we can do, like, sitting at home. So I kind of used this account to track what I was reading. And truthfully, it was a way for me to remember the books I was buying. I was going to post book hauls. And like, so when I'm at a bookstore, I'm like, did I buy that already? Let me go check. Bookstore. And it has just like evolved into this super, super fun community. I've met like friends on there that I don't know in real life, but they're like near and dear to my heart. So many book recommendations. And I will say for like the librarian people among us, like it's really not a professional outlet necessarily. Like it's just me, a girl who likes to read. And there is some of my real life in there. Lots of my dog. My dog makes an appearance quite a bit.
Aw.
So if you are into Instagram or if you feel like you're doom scrolling on things that make you unhappy, check out the Bookstagram corner of the internet because it's very happy. People just discover books every minute of every day and like it makes you want to read. Like it makes me want to read more.
I know. I love Bookstagram and I don't have my own, but I follow a lot of accounts and I'm just like, tuck that away for later, add to my TBR. So
Right,
I
yeah,
get
like
so many
same
great
thing.
ideas.
Yeah, it's so fun.
What is your favorite kind of content to post? Like, do you post a lot of reviews or do you just like to recommend? What do you like to do?
The way that I kind of set up my content, I'll do a review and then like a book haul and then a review and then like a recommendation list and then a review and then series I want to finish type of thing. And I'm getting more into like Canva graphic posts. Like those are really fun. And again, lists for me, like series I want to finish. So that when I'm sitting somewhere and I'm overwhelmed of like, what books do I want to read? Like there's so many. I can go back to that post and be like, oh yeah, let me continue with this series. Like it's a good resource for myself just as a reader.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, let me just say this to all bookstagrammers everywhere. My pet peeve is when you're showing me the books and you're going to tell me 5 books that are great for romance readers or whatever, and you like linger too long without showing me a cover. I'm like, okay, speed it up. I want to know what you're going to be talking about here. Okay.
And it's like an unskippable video, so you can't even like.
Yes. I'm like, oh,
we want our instant gratification and we want it now.
we do. I do, especially want my instant gratification.
That's so funny.
Well, we would like to thank you, Mary Alice, so much for being here with us today. It was great talking to you, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. This was so fun. Thanks for letting me process my first year as I'm jumping into year 2.
It's like a free therapy session, right?
Literally, yes, thank you.
Hope everything is great this year.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And for our listeners, thank you for joining us. Let us know if you have any questions or topic suggestions. As always, you can leave us a voicemail on our hotline at 630-734-5015. Until next time, stay legit. Don't quit.